thanks. This last thing we're going to do is called Michelangelo. It's written by Astor Piazzolla, who's an Argentinian musician. He played the bandoneon, which is similar to accordion. Yes, I believe, if I'm correct in this, it's of German origin. And it came to Argentina by immigration from German folks. He spent some of his early years in New York City, actually. He moved from Argentina, and then he actually studied classical composition with Ginastera, another great Argentinian, and then also Nadia Boulanger, a great French composer who worked with some of the greatest composers of the 20th century, including folks like, who's that guy that wrote The Rite of Spring? Stravinsky. Yeah. So anyway, this is a beautiful tune arranged by Fred Stern, and it's recorded by the HR Big Band, which is from Germany, ironically, after all this German stuff. And you may have noticed we've added an extra player over here. This is Shiloh. This chart has a really important percussion part using marimba and congas, so you'll see him over there doing that. And we're going to hear a bunch of solos from throughout the band. On trumpet, we're going to hear Jared Sorum. Alto, Sam Ormson. Trumpet, Tim Hemphill. You can clap, clap, clap. And Scott Hamilton again on the piano. Mark Davey again on the tenor sax. And closing it all out is Max Reese on the guitar. Okay, here we go. Michelangelo.